Okay, so the issue was actually a pesky one that's bound to come up every now and again, so good thing to remind you guys of. If you create a new component or directive or controller or whatever, you always need to make sure that you include it within index.html. So that was why the component wasn't working. I didn't have to change anything else other than just adding quotes, adding the link to the file that I created. And now when I reload this, except the path is components, so save it and now reload, and you can see here is the data that I wanted to get. So that is what we wanted to see, but if you notice, it has a text property here, and there's a bunch of there's a couple crazy characters, and the issue with that actually is that the API delivers HTML strings via that text property, so we need to use Angular's ngSanitize module if we want to actually be able to see those correctly. And we actually, in the first few videos, we installed AngularSanitize and UI router in Angular. So all we really need to do is make sure that we're linked to it from the HTML, and we are. And then we need to add ngSanitize to our array of dependencies. So what we do to do that is, at the end of this array here, we go ngSanitize, and then we can save. And then if you want to look at more info about how this works, you can go to the docs, AngularJS docs for Sanitize. But the main thing that it does for us is it allows us to use bind-html within our HTML. And so to go through an example of this, we have our comment text. So what we can do is go within our story comment template, and then we can try this with a span. And let's make it ng bind HTML and add vm.commentText so we can get that text property. And when we save this and reload this page, we should see just the text here. And sure enough, you see. And now those are quotes instead of those weird characters. So that's what we wanted to see. Now let's look and see what other information we want from the API. It looks like we want to get the author, common author, and the time ago. So let's go into our component here, and let's make this comment text, and then res.data.text. And then let's make vm.commentAuthor equal to res.data.by. And then we'll make vm.commentTime equal to res.data.time. And then you can see this is the author is under by, and then time is that big giant number. So if we now that we've added those, we have to actually add them to our story comment template here. So these wanted to be actually, this wanted to be a div because it's going to be on its own line. And then div here on top of it because this is the first line which has the author. And then we want to do vm.commentAuthor. And then vm.commentTime. And then we save this and reload here. You can see we have this deal, but now we don't have the comment anymore. And the reason is we changed this to comment text instead of comment.text. So let's delete the period and uppercase that, save it, and now you can see we have the comment and the author and time ago, but it's this giant string. And we did solve that before, but this is the next step in our video. We're going to have to refactor. We're going to pull those formatting functions that we defined within our story directive out into filters so we can use them in both the directive and our new component. So that's what we'll do in the next step. But before that, let's add these changes and commit them to version control. And we can move on to the next video. All right, see you then.